Okay, everyone, we're just going to give it a couple more minutes for anyone that's running a little behind. So we'll give it about 2 minutes. All right, we're going to go ahead and get started. So today's webinar is going to be on email marketing automation 101. So what I want to provide during this presentation are just very basic tips and tactics you can use for your email marketing strategy today, right away. No fancy workflows or software needed. All of these things can be pretty much achieved with any basic email marketing provider. So if you're doing MailChimp or HubSpot or uh, Active Campaign Monitor, any of those you can easily do or have one of your team members do. So we will jump right in. So during this webinar, the three topics that I want to cover are going to be the welcome email, the abandoned cart, and then an example of a drip campaign. These three are just your core fundamentals when it comes to email marketing. They're so simple that they're often forgotten about. We love to send our monthly newsletter. Excuse me. We love to send our monthly newsletter or our promotional emails when we want to sell a product or make an announcement of some kind. But these are sort of those basic things that we can sometimes forget to set in place, and they will work for you. These can all be automated, they are not one to one. So once you set them up, the only tweaking you'll need to do is when you're checking your metrics, do you need to change copy, change the subject line, change the link, that type of stuff. But these are pretty core as part of your strategy. Quick introduction. My name is Kelly Kelly. I'm the founder and CEO of brndMethod Media Group. So we're a digital agency and we help our clients elevate their online brand presence through strategic and creative digital experiences. So that's going to include content marketing, digital strategy and consulting, website design, and podcast production. Uh, January 24th will mark 5 years in business. Good grief. January 24th of this year will mark 5 years in business for us. And we're really excited about all the things that we're going to be adding to the mix this year, including some things in AI, influencer marketing, and just some other niche projects that we want to work on that are leaning more towards the creative space. So, the type of content that we'll be putting out in preparation for that will be a hybrid. We've traditionally been B2B, and we are going to be looking to work with clients in the e-commerce space as well as the D2C space. So my personal background, I have about 20 years of collective experience in marketing. Obviously, that's over a couple of different areas. When I started, digital marketing wasn't around. I started in PR. And then moved to traditional. And then once digital happened, it was like a no brainer for me. And I haven't looked back since. I am a wife of mom of two and based out of Atlanta. All right. So the first one we have that we're going to talk about is the welcome email series. This is your basic run of the mill email. It's technically a drip campaign. The only reason I've separated these is because when we talk about drip campaigns a little later, that's going to focus more on a conversion of some kind. Your welcome email series should really be about the value. It shouldn't be necessarily leading up to you trying to get on a call to like close them. They've just opted into your list and you want to introduce them to your brand, your mission, provide value and resources that they can use. This is not necessarily about the close. So the welcome email series is an automated, hang on one second. The welcome email series is an automated email sequence that is sent to new subscribers or customers when they initially opt into your list. So this usually happens if you have a subscribe to our newsletter on your website or a learn more type of thing on your website. This is when they opt in. This is very, very, very getting to know you. This is not, yes, bombard me with a bunch of like hard sell stuff. This is really like, okay, I have a little interest. Let me fill it out a little bit. What type of value are you going to provide? Or did you just ask for my email address in order to get me on the phone or sell me something right now? So that should be the main focus going into your welcome series. And you send this, the first email in this series should be sent immediately. So as soon as they subscribe to your list, you need to send it immediately. And then you can send your follow up emails within 2 to 3 days. And, the number one question people ask is how many emails should be in the sequence? Um, Experience tells me 3 to 5. No, certainly no more than 5. Somewhere around 3 is usually the sweet spot. Depending on the industry, some people go really heavy and do like 5 to 7. For most industries, that doesn't necessarily work. Not for a welcome email series. So, around the 3 to 5 mark, no more than 5. The framework for your welcome email series is going to be really, again, an introduction of yourself and your company. So you can include a brief history. When I say brief, I mean like one sentence. Your company mission, insight into the culture. All of this can be summed up in one sentence. We don't need the full sort of mission, vision, spiel. Just kind of put it all into one, like a little one liner. And then you want to the second key thing for your welcome email series is you want to deliver on what you promise with as little as friction as possible. So if you said that you were going to provide more information of some kind, it needs to be easily accessible, not a whole 5-click process to get it. And you want to set the tone with this email. So this is an opportunity to be transparent about the type of content this new person to your community can expect. You could even ask them what they want. This is becoming a lot more popular. Most of the email marketing platforms have sort of those radio buttons that you can set up on the back end to where you put it into the campaign and then the user can just click, okay, I want to know more about podcast production. Please don't bombard me all the time with your entire offering. I already know I'm only here, I'm only scouting, I'm only lurking because I want to know about podcast production or whatever the individual thing is or category that you offer. Then you have to take the responsibility to filter by way of segmentation, filter them into the funnel where that's going to be the core of what they get. But that's really a great way to keep your audience engaged because they feel like, okay, we're establishing trust. I've said that I only want to, get more content around this particular area or this particular area. And I feel like they're going to provide that. So you have to deliver on that and then set the tone. We just did a campaign where we reintroduced at the beginning of the year, and I wanted to set the tone. We're going to be ramping up our email outreach. So if that's problematic, we understand, you can opt out, but we just have a very strategic marketing plan this year, and it's going to require more email contact. We want to move our audience to those who want to be a part of the community and provide value and do business with them. So that's our goal. A couple of key points to consider with your welcome series is you want to keep the tone friendly. Any If you Google right now welcome email series, this is really an opportunity. If it fits, always stay on brand, but to be a little more soft and friendly and comical, if that supports your brand, and it'll help to build and establish trust. And you want to include your call to action. So invite your reader to follow up with you on social media or encourage them to check out other helpful resources. Whatever is going to help them get acclimated to your brand, whatever it is you're offering, you want to include a couple of those notes in that email. You of course want to make sure that it is mobile responsive. So you need to make sure that the reader can easily read and engage via mobile device and X out. So if if you have a call to action and it sends them to a landing page or something of that nature, you want to make sure that they can easily navigate that. Almost every website provider or platform does it automatically, but sometimes it doesn't take. So you want to check to make sure that everything is lined up. Sometimes if you change the text on your desktop, you make maybe your text bigger, you need to check your mobile to make sure that that text is automatically going to be responsive to a mobile platform and not just stay the same. Sometimes it just works that way. And then lastly, you want to track and analyze. You're going to hear this quite a bit as we go through each of these type of emails. Identify what's working, what's not, and make adjustments as needed. This is a set it and forget it for the most part. You're meaning it's not a one-to-one, but you have to track and analyze. If you have been using the same welcome email series for the last year and you haven't been tracking it and it's not working, that should be step number one. You should really be tracking your metrics for these campaigns biweekly or monthly to make sure that, do you need to change a subject line? Do you need to change the colors or, the button? It could be a million things. It's your responsibility to test these things. So make sure that you're doing that. So here is an example of welcome email template number one. So this is an example of what would go out the first time. And then also as part of the follow-up, I'm going to send all of these out, all of the email templates that I've included in here. So you'll get that along with the replay links. I won't read through these, but I will tell you why I like this example. It has a warm introduction. Like this is a getting to know you. Again, this is not sales hat. This is let's get to know each other. Let's figure out what it is you like. Let's figure out how we can provide more value. It's also going to detail, it's also going to encourage a subscriber to take the next step. So in this case, that's going to be, you can read additional resources. That's an action. All of your email correspondence, for the most part, should include some type of next step. A next step does not always mean a sale. It doesn't always mean a close, and that's okay. But it should be some sort of request to take an action. Hey, check out these supporting resources for this specific thing. Check those out here. We just had a webinar yesterday and you missed it. Check it out here, not go to YouTube and find us and look on your own. You have to make it easy and remove the friction and put that into your correspondence. And this also helps to continue the conversation. All right, so next up is going to be the abandoned cart email. Now, this is really, really huge for e-com and D2C, but also for startups that have trial signups. If somebody starts a trial signup, you should be able to optimize on the back end. If they don't complete it, why not? And then how can you encourage them to go ahead and complete their registration, however that's set up? So this is an automated email that's triggered when a customer adds items to their online shopping cart but doesn't complete the purchase, right? We've all had these sent to us, usually by retailers. TJ Maxx is notorious for this. A lot of the women retail, I don't know about the men, but a lot of the women retailers, the popular ones, your Steve Madden shoes, TJ Maxx, Macy's, they will hunt you down by way of email and by way of ads if you don't complete that purchase. So as a business owner, you should be doing the same thing. If someone has went through the trouble of putting it into their cart, a million reasons can be that they don't complete it. They could have gotten up to get their credit card and a call came through. They could have Um, just something, anything could have taken their attention. So you want to make that extra effort to get them to the finish line, right? So when do I send these? Within a few hours of the cart abandoned. You want to do this while the purchase is still fresh on their mind and they haven't like decided against it for whatever reason. So, listen, the first time I experienced this was with Papa John's. This was back in 2017. I mean, when I didn't complete that pizza purchase, I had an email within minutes and it had a coupon in it. And we'll talk about that as well. But they were quick. So you have to gauge, probably what's good for your user, but within a few hours seems to be a good rule of thumb. And how many emails do you send as part of the abandoned cart? You don't want to send any more than one or two. If after two tries they haven't completed the purchase, you don't want to keep bombarding them in this way with that same messaging. You want to figure out a different strategy to approach. So, the framework for the abandoned cart email is going to be number one, a catchy subject line. You need this to stand out. So, something a little um, kitschy or a little funny would be appropriate here. Definitely some sort of emoji. You just want to get their attention and clearly convey the purpose of the email. Hey, you forgot something. Hey, we saw you didn't complete the purchase. Be very direct with your subject. And then always have a clear call to action. So include a link directly to the abandoned cart items. So your checkout cart, whatever, however that's set up, you want to send them right back there. Don't send them back to the product page. Don't send them back. Please don't just send them to the website. Send them back to the cart. And most of the big e-tailers or the platforms like Shopify, they have that already set up, but you have to make that connection and you have to input the copy. But you want to send them back to the abandoned cart items to complete the purchase. So you could also include a discount code or other incentive to encourage purchase or conversion. That's really huge in the e-commerce space. And it helps to whatever the apprehension was or whatever. If they were, a lot of people get on the fence about shipping. It doesn't matter how much they're ready to spend when they see it's 5, 10, however much shipping. I don't know why, but it makes people, second guess. So if you want to include a discount code that takes the edge off that a little bit, that's probably a good way to go if they haven't completed the purchase. So, a couple of key points to consider when it comes to your abandoned cart is you can upsell and cross sell. You can use this as an opportunity to upsell and cross sell. So, you can suggest additional items that would complement the items in the customer's cart, but I wouldn't necessarily. So, let's take ecom for example. If someone was going to purchase a dress from your ecom store and they didn't complete the purchase, with if they the abandoned cart, if you're going to offer some sort of cross sale, it should be one or two items that complement that, not saying, hey, check out all these purses that would go really great with this, check out all these sweaters that would go. It needs to be a curated one or two sort of thing that's going to complement it, right? Even with your digital product business, if someone's buying thing, don't offer them the whole, hey, you want to upgrade to this whole suite of product, like offer, piece it out and make it palpable for them. This is also a really great opportunity to include testimonials and reviews. This can help build trust and persuade the customer to complete their purchase. So you can include reviews that are specific to this product if you have them, or testimonials. That is super, super helpful because it's social proof that this thing works. I was on the fence about buying it. I kind of want it. I put it in my cart. I'm thinking about it. Okay, now I'm getting hit with an abandoned cart email, and it's giving me a code, and it's going to take me directly back to the cart. And then look here, such and such from you know Miami, Florida says that this is the best product or service they've ever used. They give it 5 stars. All of these things work together to encourage the conversion because that's what you want. And then the last 2 points, of course, mobile responsive and track and analyze. So here's an example of the one abandoned cart email. So the subject is, did you forget something? Very short, succinct, and to the point. Actually, the entire email is. So it looks like you left something behind. You can include a product photo there, and that will help to maintain the focus. And then you can include what I call an urgency option. So this is going to provide extra incentive to buy now. You can either let them know you want to get it before it sells out because inventory is low, or your card is about to expire, and so is your chance to get free shipping. So use this code at checkout. And then a button. Very simple, very clean, to the point. All right, so drip campaigns. Now, I mentioned the difference between why I separated out the welcome email from the drip campaign is because the example of a drip campaign we're going to cover is really more about getting to some sort of close, a conversion, getting the sale done. The welcome email series is not usually about that. If you send a three-part welcome email series, you're not necessarily expecting to get a sale at the end of the third email. Not usually. If you do, great, but it's not usual. So the drip campaign is a series of automated emails that are sent to a specific group of people over a period of time. So these can be used to nurture leads, educate subscribers, or promote new products. So you send these immediately after a user opts in based on a qualifying action. They've they went to download a lead magnet, a white paper, those type of things, a case study. And then you can send this. Usually a sweet spot for this is like 3 emails, because this should be a shorter journey to getting them to close. Usually people aren't they're taking this action because there is, number one, interest. There's some level of consideration, right? They may be using whatever resource they're trying to download or opt in for as a way to not only extract value from that, but also it will help them to say, oh, okay, this was really well done, or I feel like I got tremendous value. I feel very informed. I feel this resource was tremendous. Then that helps them to consider your company, your product or service as something that they could implement when the time comes to solve this need in a more done for you way. So we've already moved past the awareness stage. At this point, we're usually in consideration. So 3 emails should be it in getting them to the close. And the framework for this is you want to you want to, provide helpful information. Customer success stories are really great at this stage. And the content needs to be very specific and targeted around what you've delivered. And I'll show you an example. We have drip campaigns for each of our lead magnets. We do not lump them all together and say, oh, well, if you were interested in this, all the email correspondence that follows in that drip pushes all of our lead magnets. Absolutely not. It needs to be separated in a way where it's very targeted and strategic. Okay. And the other thing that's part of this framework is that you should include step-by-step instruction on a how-to. So you can offer help by way of pre-recorded video or online support if that is what the opt-in calls for. All right. Now, the 2 things you want to remember about pre-recorded video is the thing you want to remember about pre-recorded video is that you need to make sure that it's thorough. The worst you can do is say, "Oh yeah, we have this resource to help you." They click on a pre-recorded video and it doesn't really guide them in a detailed way. So you have to make sure it happens. The thing you want to remember about online support is that you need to have the resources to support it. So if you offer online support by way of chat, somebody has to man that. If you offer online support by way of help desk, somebody has to man that. And you need to be able to respond in an appropriate time frame. You can manage expectations, and I'm sure you've all seen on a pop-up where it says, hey, somebody will get back to you, and expect a reply in this many hours or minutes or what have you, but somebody needs to respond to that. All right, so key things to consider with your drip campaigns, they need to be carefully timed. Frequency of each email should be tailored to the needs and interests of the recipient. So, for example, if you have a SaaS product and you're offering a 30-day trial, it might not be advantageous to bombard them with 5 emails week one. It's a 30-day trial. You obviously want to have your confirmation email once they've, registered and they've downloaded, and hey, thanks for downloading. We hope this is super helpful for you. Um, we'll check in, if you need anything, let us know. We'll check in a week to see how you like it. They get an email the next week. Hey, it's been 7 days since you downloaded your trial. How's everything going? If you need additional support, such and such can help you this way. We'll check in again as it gets closer to the end of your trial. So that's in a week or two. It wouldn't be very smart if it was a 30-day trial to just kind of squeeze everything into a week, right? The other thing you want to consider when it comes to your drip campaigns is that you definitely want to be leveraging segmentation. And this is work on your back end, but it should be done. So you need to be setting up your back end so that your list becomes divided into smaller groups based on the characteristics and the the activity and engagement of your audience. So if we send out we promote that we have which we'll cover. I think this is going to be one of the examples. We have the ultimate social media manager checklist. Okay. So we have somebody that opts in for that. A few days later, we post something else about social media. They engage with that. They engage with the social media blog posts that are included in our newsletter. All of this is being aggregated on our back end to tell us what about this specific user. They're interested in social media management. Okay, that's pretty broad, but let's just say that's kind of on different touch points between email, lead magnets. If they engage by name on social media, it's all kind of within that realm. That data needs to be tracked on the back end so that you can continue to provide them relevant information and campaigns based on what they're expressing they're interested in. Okay. And then brand consistency. So you need to make sure you're maintaining consistency in your messaging and branding because you're still trying to establish trust and credibility. We are not at the finish line yet. We are still dating. So you still have to be on a little bit. And so you're still trying to find those opportunities to build trust and credibility with your audience. And then last but not least, you want to track and analyze. So here's an example. This is actually one of our drip campaign email template number 1. So this is from our social media management checklist. Hey, this specific product has arrived. Hello, customer name. Thank you for signing up. Then we go on to tell it, and then we provide a link to download it right then and there. So I like this template because it explains how this resource can be of value and it builds excitement through festive emojis and inclusive language. Hey, welcome to the community. You've kind of taken that next step. So whether they have opted in via the welcome series, they may or may not have. Maybe they saw this because we promote these on our social platforms. And that doesn't always put you into the welcome email series automation. So if they just are coming in this way, we still want them to feel inclusive. We still want them to feel supported. And we want to make it a little bit of a big deal. Hey, thanks for signing up. We're glad you're here, that type of thing. Okay. And so that concludes the webinar today. If you have any questions, please feel free to drop them in the chat. Happy to answer anything specific to your business, your industry, or any other questions that you might have. Okay, we have, all right. So Stacy wants, wait, hold on. It's going a little fast. Stacy's asking about the abandoned cart. Okay, so let's go back to that one. Yeah, so this is okay, so the framework for the abandoned cart. This is the framework. So, and then when I say framework, that really just means sort of fundamentals that you want to make sure you include. You can build these out however you see fit and however you think is going to work for your audience. If you have a very conservative brand, you don't have to go so funny on your subject line. If you look up abandoned cart email examples, depending on the brand, they can get kind of wild, which I find comical. But if you, and I understand that's just, a brand thing. If you have a very conservative brand, you still want to figure out how to grab attention. And you can look back on your email metrics and see from your other campaigns what type of subject lines get your readers' attention. And just include that there. Everything doesn't have to be funny. But this is an opportunity if you have a brand that allows it to be a little more casual and use that subject line as an opportunity to kind of build rapport. Okay. Ye- okay. Yeah. So the question is yes. Again, yes, the welcome series is the welcome series technically part of the drip campaign? Yes, it is. Again, the only difference is for us, everybody doesn't always get into the welcome series funnel. If they engage with any of our resources that we promote between Instagram, LinkedIn, um, Facebook, Twitter, they bypass that original welcome series and they're coming in straight from downloading the lead magnet. So that has its own funnel. The welcome series is only activated through subscribing on the website in certain fields. So now that's the cool thing about it is because then we can easily determine where you came in and what it is. If that was all meshed together, we wouldn't know if you had a targeted interest. If the lead magnet, if you opted into the lead magnet and that just puts you in the welcome series, I don't know, then we miss the opportunity to identify that you've already expressed a specific interest. The welcome email series is great and it should be just sort of foundational. It should be into your website, but I think each resource should have its own funnel, even down to some people even will optimize their newsletters to do personalization, like or segmentation. If you have a track record of, if we send out emails every 2 weeks and you have a track record, let's say we include a link to our podcast that we're launching next month. If in every email that we send out for 3 months, you are always clicking on the podcast, it's going to put you in that funnel. This is not ignoring GDPR by any means. We have all that in the system. So we're not just putting people on lists without permission. But if you show interest every time we send out an email with a link to the like a newsletter including a link to the podcast, once that launches or what have you, then we're going to put you into those type of funnels to test how much interest do you have in this. You could be looking for sponsorship, you could be looking for us to produce the podcast for. It could be a few things that you could be looking for. So every single uh, key action should have its own funnel. So when you go into your back end, you are not confused on what it is Kelly likes. It will be all in a little file in the email. If you click on your contacts in your email, it'll say, it will sometimes put automatic tags on stuff or at least show you their actions. Oh, she engaged this day, she engaged that day, she registered for the webinar, she clicked on this link, she clicked on that link, she downloaded this lead magnet. That's data. That's like very, very, very good information you can use to move them along to convert to something. All right. Do we have any more questions? All right. Well, this has been great, everyone. Again, let me put the contact slide up. Thank you for joining the webinar. As mentioned, we will be doing these bi-weekly for now, probably eventually weekly. So, make sure you're looking out. You guys are already part of the email community for that. And so just be on the lookout for those details about topics and that type of thing. And then if you're interested in digital marketing services, please feel free to reach out in any of these methods. And we will be sending out the replay and any sort of resources, key takeaways that were included in here. Okay. Thanks, everybody.